All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. Hope everyone's having a great start to your day. Of course, we got to do it again with the PCMR, good old pocket change market report. This time it's for the first Saturday in April. So we're at April 3, and we are going to take a look at the last 24 to 48 hours of eBay market activity for a lot of your favorite errors and varieties that generally has been found in some way or cherry picked, whether it's through coin roll hunting, going through change, maybe searching through your existing silver stack, for things that you might see on the video. And of course, there's always that element of folks that like to go to the local coin shows and shops and trying to cherry pick something nice. Because normally these dealers, they don't really waste their time with some of the coins that you see on screen. But another man's treasure or trash is your treasure. Sorry, I completely butchered that. But you guys get the big idea. I also wanted to take just a moment to talk about the previous video I uploaded to this one. I opened up a few boxes of that Hit Parade mystery graded coins and enjoyed every single comment. All right. Even the guy that said that, I was probably in cahoots with David Adams Card World or Hit Parade. Because getting two of the big hits out of 4 boxes just seems implausible. And I will tell you this right now, okay, because obviously this individual wasn't thinking correctly when he or she posted that. I am no way affiliated with any company, corporation. There is no affiliation whatsoever. As you can see, I'm unsponsored, and that's the way I like it. And that's why I'm able to provide some of the most honest reviews on some of the secondary market, kind of like product. We are all very familiar with, the quote unquote unsearched rolls or mystery grab bag lots on eBay. As you guys know, I bought a few of those. All right. And you guys need to know, you guys need to be informed of what's out there. Is it all worth it? Or is it just a bunch of hoo-ha? And, I've said it in the comments of that video, and I'm not letting it, bother me any because it really doesn't at the end of the day. That's my due diligence is to make people aware of what's out there. But like I said, I would much rather, fall on the blade or that grenade so that way you guys don't have to. Because, when we're out there and we're collecting, we need to go after the most wisest purchases that you can possibly muster with the amount of money that you have, right? What can $100 buy at the end of the day, as opposed to what can I gamble on to try and double this up? There's a huge difference, all right? With coins, you don't need to gamble to get the big coin, all right? It's like with the pocket change market report. There's a lot of things that people have done to minimize the amount of money that they've spent on these coins. If it means going to the bank, investing a little bit of gas to get there, so that way you could search through that box of pennies or $50. Keep in mind, you're playing with house money. There's no better way to approach the hobby than to play with house money. I've said it once and I'll say it again. There's no better way than to just play with house money. Because, you may or may not find something. But if anything, if you did, it was well worth it. You either supplement your collection or you find something that you could flip. All right, so when we're talking about these coins, I'll just reiterate again that every single image here is a raw image from the seller. All I did was made up the two or three, 4 images together so that way it fits on one page. And additionally, I didn't do any like lightening, darkening. I didn't juice up photos, anything like that. These are actual raw images that you're going to see from the respective sellers. Every single coin is raw, all right? The big idea is there's no reason to grade any of these because at the end of the day, why spend the $25, $30 to submit a coin if and only if it comes back and it's end up being, the same value? It doesn't make any sense. You would have wasted $25, $30 and then shipping fees and then everything else that goes into the cost of grading that coin. All right, enough chit chat. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first set of coins here. And, yes, 1921 Lincoln Wheat Cent. It took a little bit of a while. My computer was malfunctioning. Hopefully it's going to go through A-OK throughout the rest. All right, so the coin at first glance doesn't look like a high-end anything, but, a very observant collector that knows his stuff knows that this is a pretty cool lamination on a 1921 Lincoln. You can see it right here on the obverse of the coin. Again, laminations all of a sudden have kind of exploded out in the scene. It's not that they exploded too terrible in value where they're like hundreds of bucks. But people are beginning to collect things like laminations, even though it is, kind of on the low end of the error totem pole. But this one right here, it's age, it's, regular wear, where I would say it's probably a details coin just based off of some of like the corrosion on the reverse. This one did sell for $10.61, where traditionally this would be a coin that you could either find A, in circulation, or B, doing what I do. I like to go through wheat cent bags. Okay, so at the cost of like 3 to 5 cents per coin, this is a pretty nice flip right here. The next one that we have here is just a astounding 1999p Jefferson nickel. This one obviously is a Broadstruck error. So when this thing was struck, there was no collar to hold the coin in. So all that metal flow had to go out like a pancake. It's like, you put too much batter in a waffle iron and you close that thing, and then all of the extra dough just comes out on the sides, the batter, rather. Hey, that rhymed. But what we have here is just a coin that I would imagine is probably as big as a standard Washington quarter, if maybe not just a little bit bigger. This one sold for $38.74. Plus, it's also worthwhile mentioning that this coin is a nice high grade. People love that. All right, so we got another one here, this time on a Roosevelt dime, another Broadstruck coin. This one is a 1996p. This one right here, believe it or not, sold for quite a bit more than the previous coin. Albeit it is a Roosevelt dime. You just don't see too many, Broadstruck Roosevelt dimes of this size. This one, probably size of a nickel, if not maybe a little bit larger, sold for $57.74. All right, so all of a sudden, BIE, die chip, Lincoln cents have, kind of gained in popularity here in the last like 3-4 months. I would say since the holidays, people are really paying attention to these. Thankfully, all these BIE coins are attributed on a website called cudsoncoins.com. And because of the extra press and the cataloging system on that website, people are taking up the task of trying to find all of the attributed BIEs. And then as a result, you're seeing more people get into it. You get 2 or 3 interested parties kind of going back and forth on a bidding battle. And you have a coin here that sold for $14.49, where a year ago, you could barely sell these for about $1 to $2. It just goes to show you that once something, once a part of collecting gains a little bit of steam and you have a few more people that are interested in the actual assemblage of all of the different attributed BIEs or other errors, they'll go for it. And, they find that 10 to 20 bucks for some of these BIE coins is completely acceptable. Again, it's not like they're going out and they're spending hundreds of dollars on these things. But this is, this is a coin that I would say keep an eye out on, because the returns right now is extremely good for BIE coins. All right, so based on wow factor, this is one of my favorites. It's a 1999 Philadelphia double struck Lincoln Memorial cent. As you can see, what's that thing that I keep telling you guys week in, week out? With either off-center or double struck coins, if you have a fully readable date on the part that's off-center, man, that's what people want to see. Okay, the cool part is on the double strike, this one right here is about 80% off-center from the actual regular strike. You have 2 completely readable dates on this one, and with all of those factored in together. I mean, you have a coin that is extremely desirable to long-time error collectors. This one right here is sold for $259.51. It's stunning, that's for sure. Although I when it comes to off-center and double struck coins, I'm least kind of like a fan favorite when it comes to zinc cents, only because I know these things have to be stored properly so that way they don't deteriorate in front of your very eyes. All right, so these images are a little bit pixelated, but we have a pair of 1950s Lincoln wheat cents. As you can tell, they're in pretty nice shape. They're a nice minty red, but the big reason why that this is on here is because they are minor RPMs. So we have repunched mint marks on both examples. This seller did sell both. They did what they call a Dutch auction. So they had a number of them available. He sold both of them. Each one sold for $17.95. This one is so minor that this one can, in lower grades, easy to pass up. I mean, I've probably passed up a number of these. But on the higher grade examples, you could actually see the splitting. This one right here is a triple S, actually. So an S over S over S West. Yeah. I mean, this one right here. And it's RPM number 9, in case you were wondering. So, it's going to take some pretty good eyes and a really good magnifier. Again, if you're going into errors and variety hunting, a good magnifier is paramount to your success. You need to master that tool so that way you can find stuff like this and reap the rewards. If you guys need to know more, I got Amazon links down below in the description box if you need magnifiers. They are affordable, under $10 all day long. Sold for $17.95. So just between two coins, that's almost $36. Not bad. All right, so here's a different kind of off-center strike. This one on a Roosevelt dime, but obviously there is no readable date, so we don't know what date this coin is here. Again, it's way off-center by what, 80-90%, something like that. But you guys got to keep in mind, if you're looking for a coin in error specifically like this with long-term kind of like a value ramp, having a full readable date is important. Otherwise, you end up a coin like this, and it's sold for only $9.83. If it had a full date, this would be a $50 coin easy. All right, so the one egregious, I would say, market manipulation listing of the week is this 1956 D over D. Now, this is a very well-known RPM in the community. A lot of people look for these. I probably have maybe 2 or 3 dozen of the 56 D over D RPMs. This one, of course, is also a Cherry Picker's Guide variety. It's a can't miss. Under just regular 8 times power magnification, this one is a shoo-in. You could see this one a mile away under a magnifier. I know that doesn't make any sense, but, bear with me. You know what I mean. But this one right here, again, it's an incredibly common RPM. It's FS501, by the way, in the Cherry Picker's Guide. Sold for $120.50, where usually this is a $10 to $20 coin. So I know the market hasn't gone up that much on these, and I happen to know that, in this particular condition, this is kind of like a very middle of the road, what you would expect to find, like an XF AU Brown. I just don't see how this is a $120 coin, so there is a lot of manipulation in this one. But just to let you know that is the case. All right, so we have a 2001 Lincoln Memorial cent. This one is, let's see, it's Broadstruck with an indent. All right, so there was another coin that was overlapped on this one when it was struck. So, it's a neat oddity as far as errors go. That the broad strike isn't all that great in a bag of chips on this one, although that indent is pretty interesting. This one sold for $27. Again, this is another, Zinken era coin. You want to make sure that if you do own stuff like this, or you have like the exposed zinc, core on certain areas, you want to be able to, store these with very little moisture. So here's another BIE die chip Lincoln cent. This one on a really nice 1956D. Between this and a 5070, they're the two most common dates for BIE chips. And I believe there's more attributable types of these two particular dates and mintages, or mint marks. But this one right here, you can see just a nice connecting die chip, connecting the B and E right there. This one right here sold for $13.50. Again, the market has embraced this, and people are buying. These are legit back and forth bidding action that brings it up to $13.50. All right, so that's not bad. If you got these and you don't particularly care for them that much, it's a love it or leave it type affair with BIEs. Some people like them, some people just don't care for them. You might want to consider selling them, make a little extra money. All right, so this one right here, 1990 something. I think it's a 91 Lincoln Memorial cent. Now this coin would easily pass through many hands. All right, but it is missing the last digit of the date. You can barely see and make out a 1 in there. But what we have here, real simple. It's a strike-through. We had a little bit of grease. You could see actually the grease trail that goes here to just about the T in trust. This one right here sold for $19.49. Usually with strike-throughs, anything that's like missing like a number of the date or a few letters of like Liberty, but for whatever reason, people like those, and they'll spend up to that amount of money that's acceptable to them to own a piece like this with just a neat oddity, like a missing digit. All right, so this coin is not the best of shape. Lots of carbon spotting issues, which eventually turn into corrosion. But if you see it, then you definitely know what it is. This is a little bit of a cud right here. And they actually refer to this as an atheist cud. And the reason why that is if the cud is covering any part of the word God, all right? So they also call it a godless cud. So if you're into that sort of thing. But a cud's a cud's a cud. These coins are very valuable, and people actually do pay up more for the atheist type, quote unquote. So just to give you an idea, this one right here is sold for, get this, $103.49. It's a small cud, so normally a much larger cud in any other part of the coin would probably sell for maybe a little bit less than this. But because it covers up the word God, that's where you get a lot more of the value. Again, it's just a niche when it comes to this type of collecting. All right, so do what I do, and make sure you check every single one of your old silvers. There's a lot to find in your 90% stash if you got it. This looks like a coin that normally I would have in my silver. It really does. 1942, high mintage, no frills, nice low kind of like good to VG type grade. However, this one, if you know your varieties, is a well-known doubled die reverse. So what the seller did, and what is just plain straight up genius, because I do encourage stuff like this, is you have your coin with your diagnostics, and then you also have a secondary sample of the actual variety. All right, so this one right here, doubled die reverse FS801. I mean, the biggest thing you can see is this double tail of the R, which is the same as this one. Okay, and then you also see the elongated C here with the extra split, and you also see that here as well. Well done to the seller for even identifying this coin. But get this one sold for $41.95. If you like hunting through Washington quarters, 1942, 43, especially that S minted 43, doubled die obverse is the big one. All right, that's the one that if the grade's high enough, people pay through the nose for those type of coins. And even lowball type examples are worth like $100 to $200 of that particular date. But this one right here, really nice cherry pick. $42 later, it's worth a heck of a lot more than the actual intrinsic value of this coin. 1996p Roosevelt dime. We have another Broadstruck example. Again, you know, this one right here is probably close to the size of between a Lincoln cent and a nickel. All right, so you know, with the absence of the collar, the metal flow has to go somewhere. So there you go. You have a coin that looks and appears a lot bigger than it actually is. This one right here is sold for $27.50. Well done. All right, so this is a first in a long line of various little rim cuts and actual just regular cuts, cut die breaks. So a little piece of the die had fallen off, so it'll come up as a raised blob on the coin. But, you know, surprisingly, we have a couple-year-old National Park quarter here. We have a Pictured Rocks ATB with a nice little rim cut right next to the word Michigan on the reverse. Again, this is what you need to look for because there are quite a few of them out there. This one right here, ladies and gentlemen, sold for $12.99. If you were offered $12, $13 for this coin, take it all day long. You know, it's so minor and so small. Unless you were like kind of like an avid collector of these type of pieces, I would say take the easy money. All right, so here's another one here. Another phenomenal looking error on an Effigy Mounds 2017 ATB quarter. This time the obverse has just struck through a bunch of grease. A good old greasy die on there. A lot of the main devices are obliterated on this coin because it has to go through all of that grease when it's struck. This one here sold for $12.99. Keep in mind, this coin is very well worn. You have a lot of circulation wear on this one, and for a lot of other coins too. If you haven't kind of like because my main thumbnail is, man, damaged circulated coins with the right type of errors and varieties are still worth a lot of money on the secondary market. You know, so keep that in mind when you go through your coins. Do not discriminate between clean, brilliant, uncirculated coins and the ones that have clearly defined like circulation wear, damage, that sort of thing. You want to pull both of them out. We have here a really nice 1964D Kennedy half dollar. Again, the Denver minted Kennedys are just a haven for various different types of varieties. You have RPMs up to wazoo. You have a few really nice doubled die reverses on this coin. Even a doubled die obverse is a very nice find. This one right here is a DDO number 3. It's FS103 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. And it's also an RPM. It's number 6. So this is a dual variety coin. Here are some close-ups of the doubled die obverse. You can see in the motto, "In God We Trust." Lots of doubling. And then in addition, if you need it, it also has this die marker right here. So it's kind of like a gouge of some sort that connects the E on the reverse, I think it states, to the rim. All right, so if it has that, you're in good shape. You know exactly what you got. This one sold for $54.25. Again, take a look at all of your Kennedy halves, especially the Denvers, because there are a number of different varieties that'll make a lot more money than what the actual silver value of the coin is worth. All right, we got more quarters. And these all, by the way, are from the same seller. They've been kind of like hoarding these up here, and you know, this individual had sold a number of them here in the last couple days. We have a 2006p Colorado State quarter. This is a very common cut, so for you folks there on the east coast of the U.S., these are out there. They're actually quite common, you know, with just you know, a regular enough searching habits. You can find these real easily, and they're all Philadelphia struck coins. This one sold for $17.50. Here's another one right here. You could just tell the actual size and the progression of the cud is different. So this is a little bit earlier state of such. Or it could be a completely different cud, you know, positioned a little bit differently. This seems to be from this side and then this side here seems to be a weak spot on the dies. All right, so we do see quite a few little breaks that occur on those dies. This particular example sold for $17.06. Here's another little tiny one. Again, West Virginia, 2005 Philadelphia State Quarter. You got this tiny little cud that goes into and touches the design. Again, because of the design and how it's built all the way up to the edge of the rim, like so, and you have this channel, that's a weak spot for these coins. So this one right here sold for $17.50. So through 3 coins, and just look at the condition through 2. They're all circulated. These have all been pulled out of change or coin roll hunting. Condition wise, between 3 coins, over $50 already made. I mean, you can't beat that with a stick. That is phenomenal way to take advantage of the market. Here's another one right here, another West Virginia. You just see the size. This might be a later state progression of the previous cud that we just saw. But look, see, it's got all the staining and gunk and all that other stuff. Not a high-grade coin. This one sold for $12.99. Shall I keep going? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. 2001P Vermont State Quarter. You can see the cud right here. Again, another common statehood to find a cud on. And this one sold for $30. All right. And then finally, we have one Kentucky here. 2001P. And by the way, there's a lot more cuds. Check the website, cudsoncoins.com, and go ahead and breeze through all of the statehood quarters. There are a lot more. But as you can see, this one is a really nice, good size that goes into the actual fencing and all that stuff. This example sold for $12.99. Again, the key to this is that they are circulated. Okay, don't overlook these just because they're not perfect in your eyes, because that's where a lot of the errors and stuff get passed up. And between the 7 or 8 cuds that this person had sold, they made $150. I mean, that is really good money for a bunch of circulated coins that total to what, $2 face. Why not? Take advantage of it. 1972D Kennedy half dollar. This is a little bit tougher date to find the no initials reverse. Now this one looks like there is a partial FG initials right here for Frank Gasparo. Usually with the missing initial reverse half dollars of like 1982, 72, a few of those dates, 72D. You need to have the initials completely wiped out for them to be like the legitimate type of error or variety for this, because they are in the Cherry Picker's Guide. Sold for $58.50. That's real money. I mean, if you're not looking for these, you're really doing yourself a disservice. All right, so the one and only piece of currency on the list is this $1 Federal Reserve note. It's a 2013. The images are a little bit pixelated on this one, or out of focus. But the big part of it is that it's got a 4-digit repeater. So the serial number string is 8 digits. So the first 4 numbers in the serial string matches the second set of 4 numbers. Okay, it's very well collected in the community. People do collect what they call fancy serial numbers. The seller also made mention that there's a little bit of over-inking on a few of the digits, but that's not the real reason why this note sold for the amount of money it did. If you guys are interested in knowing more about the fancy serial numbers, like the legitimate ones and not the made-up, fabled ones, check out a website called coolserialnumbers.com. The person that owns that website has been doing fancies for a long time. We're talking like maybe 15 plus years. He knows his stuff, and you get to see samples of all of the different types of legitimate fancy serial numbers. This is one of them, just a standard regular repeater. Sold for $35.25. If you find it, pull it out. It's worth money every time. There's the back of the note. Nothing worthwhile mentioning here. Everything's normal, and we have a 51D Lincoln Wheat Cent. This is just a really nice higher grade specimen of an off-center struck coin. The seller had mentioned it's about 20% off-center. It's like 20 to 25. You got full date, nice high grade. Everything is good here. Sold for $56.50. Now, if you have the opportunity to buy lots like this, I would probably consider it. All right. So this person probably left quite a bit of money on the table by selling it as a lot. All right. So we have 13 Lincoln Cent errors, a lot of off-center type. Obviously, you don't see any off-center coins with full dates. So there is something to contend with there. But people do buy these type of lots, and they'll turn around and sell the individual coins on eBay. And, they'll, oftentimes they'll make about, 40 to 60% more money buying these lots and then selling them individually, which you can do. It's more work. Sometimes the returns just isn't there, but if you see lots like this cheap enough, you could certainly pick them up. This one sold for $66.63. All right, down to our last few coins. I love talking about this one. The missing date large cut die break Washington quarter. It's like a mid 70s, maybe early 80s date. But this one, guys, this is a good one to look for. This is actually a lot more common than meets the eye. Some people say, oh yeah, I can't find that. I'm like, sure you can. I found one. And I'm here on the West Coast. So it's not all bad. But this one here I hear is a very popular cut die break. It's sold for $73.39. It's a nice high grade too, which, it adds extra brownie points for collectors of these type of errors. And then finally, for the most out of focus coin of the week, is actually one of the most impressive. We have a Lincoln Memorial Cent that was struck through an obverse die cap, more along the later stage type, because you begin to see things like Liberty. You get to see like the profile of Abraham Lincoln on there. Don't know if this is a scratch or maybe a little bit of a strike through. That remains to be seen. But based off of the information that I do know for this coin, it is an struck through later stage die cap. So that die cap was pretty thin over that hammer die. Man, I've been doing this too long. I forget some of those details. But this one right here sold for 5,700 pennies, or $57 for the normal folks. But that is a phenomenal sale, and these are all over the place in circulation. I actually found one the other day that's about on par to what this one is. And just to think, I found something that's worth a tank of gas. I mean, if you look at it that way, then you might see a little bit more value. But really cool error. Well, hopefully that gets your blood pumping for your Saturday. So if you're out there, buying up coins or lots or checking out your local shop or going to the bank, man, now you have something to work towards. So I want to thank you guys for joining in. As always a pleasure sharing the Pocket Change Market Report with you every Saturday. Best of luck in your hunt. Coinaholics, we are discovering together. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell. And I will see you guys on the next coin video. Take care.